Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Home Affairs. In question time on the 27th of March, when asked whether he could categorically rule out any personal connection between himself and the intended employers of the au pairs, the Minister answered, "Yes, and I don't know these people." How can the Minister expect the Parliament to believe he didn't know the intended employer of the Italian au pair when an email he sent to the Minister titled "Call Required" begins, "Peter, long time between calls"?
The Minister has the call. The Minister for Home Affairs. Member for Hughes. Members on my right, the Minister for Veterans Affairs. The Minister has the call.
You have had, since March, you had an opportunity yesterday, you got to question number 8. You asked me a lame question whether I could table an email. You have been out there with your wet lettuce talking to journalists. You've been issuing angry press releases, and after all of that time, that is the best you could come up with. Mr Speaker, this is the most incompetent shadow immigration minister in Australia's history. Now,
members on my
that
right.
comes as a surprise to many of my colleagues. Not that he's so lame, but that he's the shadow immigration minister, Mr Speaker. He has refused time and time again to ask questions about border protection, about how we got the 8,000 children out of detention that he and his colleagues put into detention. He doesn't ask about the detention centres, 17 of which we closed. Labor opened 17. Now, Mr Speaker, I want the journalists in the gallery up there to have their pens poised, because this is going to be a significant drop for them. The Labor Party and the Greens don't like me because of border protection. I want that to be the scoop of the day, Mr Speaker. So what's all this faux outrage? What's this faux outrage about issuing visas to tourists, kicking out bikies? Why is he kicking out bikies? Why is he cancelling visas of pedophiles and the rest of it? They can carry on all they like, Mr Speaker. I'll tell you this much. All I will do is double down, because I'm not going to tolerate the personal attacks on me.
The Minister resume his seat. The member for Parramatta, Patterson, thank you for correcting me. I don't want to eject the wrong person. The member for Patterson can leave under 94A. The member for Blair on a point of order.
Relevance, Mr Speaker. I asked a very simple question about knowledge of the employer. He didn't answer. He's not answering the question at all.
The member for Blair will resume his seat. The Minister for Health will cease interjecting. The member for Cowan will cease interjecting. On the point of order, the member for Blair makes a reason. The member for Barton will leave under 94A. I've made it very clear I'm not going to negotiate points of order with interjections constantly through question time. Does the Deputy Leader of the Opposition hear what I say, or is it because she's interjecting constantly? I'm trying to rule on the point of order on behalf of the member for Blair. And over the interjections of those on my left, I'm endeavouring to say the member for Blair makes a valid point of order. The Minister is entitled to a preamble, but we are now more than halfway through the allotted time, and he now needs to bring himself to the substance of the question asked.
Happy to, Mr Speaker. I just went to the reasons why this faux debate has been conducted, and I'll make some more comments on that. Happy if they ask every question between now and the end of the week. I tabled that email yesterday because it indicated, as I've said all along, there is not one statement that I've made that the Labor Party can point to that is factually incorrect. That's the reality, Mr Speaker. I worked with that individual in 1998-99. I haven't spoken to him in 20 years. There were 5,500 police in the Queensland Police Force when I left in July of '99, Mr Speaker. He doesn't have my personal mobile number. He doesn't have my personal email address. He sent an email to my generic, publicly available email account. My staffer came to me and said, I have this email. My response was, who? Who is that? That was my response to it. Now, there is a lot more I'm happy to say about it if you want to ask the next question, because regrettably I'm out of time now, but hopefully your next one will be better than the last.
The member for McMahon on a point of order.
Mr Speaker, the Minister appeared to be quoting from documents in 2 folders. Could I ask him to table both folders?
Is the minister have confidential material with him? The member for Hughes has the call.
My question is to the Minister.